Tokens, NFTs, ERC20, ERC721, what do these all mean? Today we're going to be taking a dive into smart contracts and discuss what tokenization is, examples of tokenization use cases, why businesses should issue tokens, the difference between fungible and non-fungible tokens, strategies for issuing tokens, and lastly, technical token standards. Timestamps will of course be in the description down below. A token is a digital artifact that represents a metered resource. They are often implemented via smart contracts. A smart contract is a self-executing contract with the terms of the agreement between buyer and seller being directly written into lines of code. Tokenization involves many layers of security to ensure that a token successfully represents its unit of value. These layers of security include leveraging real-world legal contracts that are valid across multiple jurisdictions and governments, crypto-economic security, which sets a high waterline for financial costs that must be breached before anyone can even think about conducting an attack, and cryptographic security, which confers digital ownership in the form of private keys and even physical securities. A handy way to think about tokenization is through the comparison of tokens to casino chips. Casino chips have been engineered in such a way that provide behavioral benefits, better security, and convenience. Like tokens, casino chips also represent the value of something. In the case of casino chips, it's a set dollar amount. If a casino chip is stolen, it can't be used as legal tender, and if it is stolen, everyone knows where it's come from because it has its logo and everything on it. This really does make casino chips an unattractive prize for thieves. Casinos also have no shortage of regulation when it comes to casino chips and protecting customers. Through tokenization, many of the features I just mentioned can be pre-programmed into lines of code. A commonly discussed theme with tokenization is the ability to reduce transaction costs. This ability to lower transaction costs becomes increasingly apparent when reflecting on the current real estate market. Today, there is no national real estate exchange of meaningful size or activity. The market primarily involves brokers matching buyers and sellers per transaction. The value of properties within the market are subject to non-market forces, such as the social value of home ownership and the idiosyncratic appeal of each house, which is why home seekers generally want to inspect a property before purchasing. Some economists claim that these factors add to the transaction costs when trying to buy or sell a house, which makes it very difficult to achieve the critical mass needed for an efficient exchange. Tokenization is a method that could potentially unlock a new way of exchanging real estate assets that was not previously available to us due to high transaction costs. Through tokenization, it is possible to tie the value of a property to a token by building on existing fractional ownership legal agreements. On top of this, IT automation and contract templates can reduce transaction costs to the point where fractional ownership is affordable for residential properties instead of only large commercial buildings and really expensive assets. Since tokenization, in essence, is just software, tokens can be split into as many subdivisions as appropriate. And because the tokens would sit on the blockchain, we can confidently prevent any instance from owning two of the same shares or fabricating a deed. Another example, and to be honest, a simpler use case of connecting tokens to real estate would be, if you owned a property and you were looking to sell, you could tie the deed of the house to a token and sell that token to someone in USD. This effectively transfers the ownership of the property without any middlemen, which really means no middlemen fees. We know the technology is available to create this. It just depends on business models, regulatory environment, and asset governance. There are a variety of business benefits in digitizing assets or issuing tokens, some of which include near real-time settlement. International asset transfers may be cleared, settled, and dispersed globally in seconds to minutes, with transparency and certainty. Cryptographic security. Digital signing and cryptography ensures immutability and privacy. Zero knowledge and secure computation allow for private validation without human auditors. Verifiable digital ownership and history. Through blockchain, we can ensure tokens cannot be double spent while enabling full traceability as assets evolve and change hands. Network of value. A core differentiator between sending digital tokens and sending trades electronically is tokens allow for settlement to occur at the asset transaction level. Currently, through standard trading, each transaction brings a new expensive responsibility for the trading agent. With tokenization, settlement and compliance costs are effectively borne by the network, allowing for a far easier process to onboard new participants due to lower barriers of entry. Network formation and maintenance also become much faster and cheaper. This shift in responsibility also sets the foundation to allow for cross-network exchange. Shared business logic. Because tokens are software, they can be pre-programmed with business logic that travels with the asset. This can be inspected by all necessary parties, including regulators, to ensure fair play. High level of controls. Due to the token orchestration on a shared ledger, the management of tokens is simplified. Market structuring can be transparently incorporated as clear-cut software rules, meaning that if a newly created rule for a market is established, it can easily be enforced throughout the entire market with an audited software update. This provides a significant boost to efficiency, as the alternative is trying to contact every market participant to follow new rules. But what strategies can we use in tokenization? Now, the first use case is the smaller units of value, which we kind of touched upon earlier, but I'm going to go a bit more in depth. Currently, if a stock is seen as too expensive in an investor's eyes, a company will reduce the stock price via stock splits, which increases the quantity of stocks available but leaves market cap unadjusted. An alternative to this is what's called microshares. Microshares involve taking a stock and producing very small slices of that same stock, making it possible for anyone in the world and not just wealthy individuals to purchase specific shares. Now that's how they do it in the stock market, but what about real estate? Real estate investment trusts are used by investors to have exposure to multiple properties in the case of black swan events, where one property may collapse without insurance. A potential alternative to REITs are fractionalized real estate. Instead of owning a small sliver of a basket of properties, you could own a small sliver of a singular property. An example of why this is so powerful is that fractionalized ownership could be used to confer membership for building access rights, meaning that you can only enter this building if you have partial ownership of that building. Another example right now is credit cards. Right now, credit cards in the United States charge tens of cents plus about 2% as fees, making smaller transactions really prohibitive. If consumers start to turn to the blockchain network or transact with a cryptocurrency address, then that would create an affordable and efficient approach to send microtransactions around the world. Another strategy is exchange within ecosystems. Blockchain allows for business logic and transferability to be tied to an asset itself, thus creating a business benefit by incorporating within the blockchain ecosystem. Businesses can use shared business logic to track an asset and ensure constant compliance with regulation no matter where it is. Another use case is capturing externalities. An externality is a cost or benefit that impacts the third party without that third party choosing to incur that cost or benefit. Tokenization allows for cheaper tracking and measurement of externalities, and if we have cheaper tracking and measurement, that will lead to effective decision making. An example of an externality is carbon credits. Carbon credits are an example of an attempt to offset externalities involved with a company's induced pollution. But through tokenization, the tracking and management of externalities becomes much more untroublesome. An example is the process to manage the carbon footprint of someone who drives a high emission producing car. Currently, there's not a great way at a granular level to tackle that problem. There are regulations for cars and roads, but many economists have discussed incorporating a tokenized system to have a road that allows for a usage fee. Maybe everyone in a city has an allotment of their usage of roads, and if they're using it very heavily, an environmental fee is charged. Now we're talking about fungible versus non-fungible tokens. Non-fungible tokens may sound familiar to you because it has been hyped up everywhere. Non-fungible tokens are also known as NFTs, or Nifties. What is fungibility? Fungibility is the property of a good or commodity that have units that are interchangeable and indistinguishable. Think of a US dollar. No one cares what dollar you have as long as you have that dollar. The more non-fungible an asset is, the more quality and scarcity comes into place. So let's go into fungible tokens. Bitcoin is a fungible cryptocurrency. It does not matter what address your Bitcoin comes from, assuming of course it's not from a blacklisted address. Another example is Zcash. Zcash is a cryptocurrency that is purely anonymous and one of the most fungible cryptocurrencies. Now on the other side of the spectrum is non-fungible tokens, or NFTs. I'm not sure if you remember, but in 2017, CryptoKitties were everywhere. CryptoKitties are digital collectible cats that are unique and can evolve and have children. Believe it or not, various cats sell for hundreds of thousands of dollars now. Now, CryptoKitties may seem silly, but it really set the stage for the future of NFTs. Now onto the technical token standards. You're going to hear the term ERC20, ERC721 thrown around a lot in this world. So let's explain it. ERC20 tokens are tangible and fungible. They are computer programs that must report total supply, report the balance for specific accounts, pre-authorized transfers, transfer tokens to an address, and transfer tokens from an address. Now ERC721, on the other side, are tokens that are non-fungible and unique. They are computer programs that must support for special token ID, support the reading and writing of custom properties which create the uniqueness, transfer tokens to an address, transfer tokens from an address. To think of it more clearly, ERC721 is like CryptoKitties, where they're unique and rare. And ERC20 tokens are like the United States dollar, where they're all the same. And that's all for this video. If you did enjoy it, make sure you hit the subscribe button to stay up to date with more videos like this one.